So when you think of imaging, what are the different types of imaging that you think of that comes to mind?
There's the imaging that tells us what station we're listening to.
Okay.
And then there's that little imaging where, let's say we're listening to a drive show and then they play a little small clip of what happened in the breakfast show to like tease for us to listen the next morning kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So all these, so the things you mentioned now falls under imaging. But imaging is like, think about when we say a radio station is an urban radio station. There are so many other types of categories that will fall under that. Imaging works the same way. So imaging is the overall name of pre-produced audio in essence, okay? But there are all these other names that fall under it that we're going to start looking at now, so that you can have an idea of what it is that you're working with. Don't get confused. Some of these do have different names, okay? So something might have 3 different names, just like a station manager might be called a managing director or a managing director, depending on the country that you are in, okay? So different names, same thing. Can you see my slides now? Imaging is something that we said yesterday that should always communicate what I'm not saying as the presenter, right? And you should never repeat something that the presenter has already said. It's there to emphasize, enhance, provide more details, reiterate, remind the audience of something. Okay, should be enjoyable. So creative program managers, producers, and presenters all use imaging as elements to tell stories more effectively. We've looked at how AI can also be involved in this. So before we carry on to the other types of imaging, we're going to look at the different promotions, and I'm going to give you a tip here. This is important. Okay. It's important for things coming up. And this is on page 236 of your textbook also. So show promotions, aka show promos. You would remember last term we spoke about promotions overall, and then promos. So the promotion, bigger campaign, promo, the piece of advertising or jingle, if you want to call it that, that is advertising something, that's promoting what is coming up. Okay, so here where we speak about promotions, we are referring more in the fact of promos. Okay, is that understandable, the difference between those?
Yes, yes.
All right, great. So we get 3 types. The first type of promotion we get is a coming up or a tease promotion, the one you mentioned just now, okay? Why do we do it? To drive appointment listening, to make sure you are listening to that specific piece of content. The second type is for brand building. It's more generic. It's more like a movie trailer for a show, okay? So, yeah. It's like it's literally put together that way. And the third one is an in-show promotion that's used this imaging. So these 3 are the main types of promotions we get on air. Which one do you think is the most important?
I think type 1 is important.
Yeah, type 1 is the most important type, okay? Why? Because it's driving appointment listening. It's driving you to go and listen to my show. The others we'll chat about now. So this is what it looks like in your textbook. So like I said, type 1 coming up, or tease promotion. So what is it? Description-wise, a promotion that throws forward to a future moment in a show or an entire show, like an outside broadcast, and it creates an appointment for you to listen to. So for example, this weekend, whatever, Ian Wolf was in studio, or in our case, like last Friday on Radio 2000, we had one that would say, tune in this week. We've got Mafiki Zolo in studio. Okay, something like that to make sure that you want to listen. So it has to contain a very strong hook and a definite reason to tune in. You need to tell me why I need to listen to this thing. Best practice, provide an exact time when you want your community to listen in. So between 4 and 5 or at 10:15 or whatever it is, you give them a time. Okay, this promotion asks a favor from a listener to change their normal engagement patterns and to tune in specifically for this moment. Okay, so you need to give them a reason to do this. Why do I need to change my pattern to tune in here and listen to you? So it needs to create that anticipation and excitement kind of a moment. We do the same thing with social media. So social media promos, we do exactly this. Okay, same thing as in imaging and in audio, we do on social media, we do a coming up or a throw forward or a tease promotion. Expiry date, it expires straight after the event has happened on air. Okay, you're not going to continue playing this ad or this promo rather if the show's finished, okay, because it's already done. But you hear that sometimes. I've heard it. After an event, something continues playing. Then I'm like, what happened here? Have you just, is your scheduling department just not listening correctly or what's happening? Anyway, it shouldn't be there. So optimum time, 3 to 5 days on air before the event on medium or high rotation. So when we refer to low, medium or high rotations, we refer to how often the promo will play, okay? So low rotation, couple of times in a week. Medium rotation, let's say up to about 10 ads a week. High rotation, a lot more, okay? Probably 1 per time channel across the board. Because remember, for you to, in essence, hear an advert once, that ad needs to, or that promo needs to play 21 times within a 7-day period, because that golden number is 3. So it's important that we play it medium or high rotation. Level of importance, very important, like I just told you. Then we get the second type, which is your brand building or your generic one. What is this? This is, this advertises the show more generically. Okay, so it builds the brand, creates FOMO, and this is one of those, what went down, why was it amazing? So the morning drives, the morning drive and the afternoon drive tend to do this. This is that, heard this morning on the breakfast show. Catch us again tomorrow at 6 to 9. Okay, does that make sense? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Right, so that's this one, okay? That's why it's referred to more like a movie trailer, because it's, in essence, what it does is it takes the best moments of said show and it puts it out there. Sometimes they use this in the actual show as well as part of just a promo to show you like what you missed last time, but normally it'll play throughout like the week. And it expires after 72 hours on air, okay? In essence, you should have great content every day. So in essence, remember that the series of 5, okay? In essence, you should have one thing every single day that I can use as a promo for you. Yeah, doesn't always happen, but that's what it should be. So this promotion needs to answer a couple of questions. Why should I listen to your show? What is in it for me? What emotion are you evoking? Are you making me laugh or are you making me think? Are you making me sad? Are you making me angry and build up to get involved in something? What are you doing? So, or is it just beautiful content? Use snippets from your show to promote the show to the audience. Never just talk about your show. Instead, use this thing to advertise your show. So give it time for when the show happens. So instead of saying, in case you weren't listening yesterday, we did X, Y, Z, you have this nicely packaged piece of imaging that'll play and that'll give me a great idea of what actually did happen. Okay, so refresh this promotion with new audio from your show and keep the format of the promotion the same. The format here will never change. We're going to talk about it in a little bit. It's normally done in what we call a donut format. And I wish it was the eating type. It's not. It's a radio donut, okay? Less important compared to the upcoming promotion. The coming up or tease, most important. Brand building or generic one, a little bit less important. Why? Because here I'm not actively trying to get listeners to listen in. The ones that are already tuning in, I'm just giving them info on what is happening on this show, and what could be coming up or what is coming up and stuff that I've done, why it's amazing. Third type is what we call in-show promotion. So this is used as imaging, okay? Least important in terms of these three, but important in terms of imaging. Okay. So what is this? Color the show with older content, rehash old content to entertain and engage. So this needs to be short, sharp, punchy, and impactful. Okay. We don't use this often. We use this quite sparingly because the first time that you hear a joke, it's funny, you laugh. The second time you might go, okay. Third time you are like, this has been overdone. Same thing, okay? So they can get very tired very quickly, so we need to refresh them quite often. And how do we use them? We only use them as imaging and retrospectives sparingly. So it's not something that I use every day. It's something that I use more when there's not a lot coming up, okay? If it's like a quiet, or not a quiet, let's say I have 4 in a row of songs, then I can do this, right? Or if there's half an hour of uninterrupted music, I still need to remind them of what radio station they're listening to, right? Remember, recall, hence why we play an advert in between every second song, or every song rather. So music sweeps. So you can use one of these there as well, or you can use one of these in like your show's ad break, wherever it is there, okay? It's just more to color in your show, to make your show fuller if you have like a flat show in essence, or if there's not a lot happening. Yeah, I don't think they give you any other ideas about it in your textbook. No, they don't. All right. Okay, so not important as a promotion, but rather more important as imaging, okay? So this is seen as imaging in your show, to color in your show when there's not too much happening, when you need to perhaps like I said, remind them of who they are listening to, what kind of a show this is, when there's like a 4 or 5 in a row, whatever. Okay, but most important, coming up or tease. Brand building or generic, important, but less important than the coming up. In-show promotions that are seen and used as imaging, least important in terms of promotions, but important in terms of imaging. Right, have those 3 down. Every drive time show, morning drive, afternoon drive, needs to have at least one type 1 coming up promotion per week, at least. Some stations don't change this often. Other radio stations will change this daily, okay, where they will add a new coming up or tease promotion. Hi, Tembi. As you've just joined, just so that you know, in your Next Level Radio textbook, we are on page 236 and 237 is what we just looked at, which is important for you to note. So just make sure you go and look at those, okay? That's these. Okay, so this means that every show should have something to advertise that's worth inviting my listeners to listen once a week. I need to have that moment. Again, if you stick to the one thought, the one, what is that thing now? Now I just remember, I forgot what I'm talking about. But if you talk about one big thing in your show, which you should be doing on a daily basis, the theory of one, then you would have something that would be worth advertising to your listeners. Okay. The generic promotion, type 3, should be used sparingly as it's not effective and it can create unnecessary clutter on air. So that's this in-show promotion that we use as imaging. They're useful on music shows where you have long mixes or songs that can leave listeners unsure of their show or station they're listening to, like I just said. They can also create a sense of branding and ownership for the station because I am reiterating who this is. Right, now before I show you beds and jingles, what do you think a music bed is? What is a music bed? Yeah.
From my understanding, a music bed is let's say, okay, wait, I know two different ones. Okay, let's say we have sports, and then because we're young chilled radio station, we want to have like a little beat or something so that the sports news sounds a little bit cool. Then we'd have that little instrument or whatever playing as I speak, as I tell the news. That's the one. And then as a presenter, let's say I'm ending off my link and I can see that the next song that's going to play has an intro of like 2 minutes or a minute. Maybe it's a amapiano song or a hip hop song, and it has that intro in the beginning. Then I can sort of use that as music bed at the end of my link kind of thing.
100%.
Yes.
Especially the biggest thing though is there must be no lyrics then in that last whatever that you are using from your amapiano track to talk over.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so don't get confused. Why am I saying that? There are radio stations and campaigns, like a campaign that I just did, where they did use the artist's songs as background music. Okay, softly, but it's still distracting. So even on commercial radio stations, you might hear that for specific reasons. It still doesn't work because it still distracts me. Why? Because your brain is set up in such a way that it can only take in one thing at a time, okay? Contrary to whatever you think. You can believe that you are the best multitasker in Earth, but you can only take in one thing at a time. And if there is music and talking at the same time, guess what? Music forms part of my limbic part of my brain, my emotional part of my brain, always will take over first before before the other side of my brain. So I will always take the music in first before I hear what's happening on the talking. So if you are competing against a song, the song wins, okay? So it's important to realize that in terms of music beds always, and levels on music beds are important. So like you just said, bed music refers to music behind the presenter voices in imaging commercials or talk sequences. And music beds need to be part of the storytelling. It needs to enhance the emotive value of the story. I don't know if you've ever listened to a radio station when they're doing a fundraiser, where they're talking about, let's say, a baby that needs a heart transplant, for instance. They play this super, super depressing, sad, violent music in the background. Like, it just takes your whole mood and like just makes you feel sad, right? They do it on purpose, obviously. Same if like I'm discussing something incredibly fun and funny and exciting, then I'll have a more upbeat music bed, right? So you don't just have to have one or two. Stations tend to have quite a few. So I've produced music beds that they've used for 5FM Drive quite a few times because it's different styles and they can make use of the different styles at different types because it's easy for them, to utilize, because I don't put lyrics in those specifically, obviously. So we can use those. Music beds are also a powerful tool to position the audience in the right mental and emotional state to receive the information. Think about watching a thriller, a horror movie on silent. When that dude jumps out of that closet to slash whoever, will it have the same effect as if there was music or something or a sound going where you jump into the air? It won't, right? It won't have the same effect. Like anything on silent, if you watch it on silent, it's not the same. Because the music beds and our music elements add to our emotional state, literally. And what does it also do? Music bed helps to avoid dead air, because at least then there's something in the background. Okay, so music beds mainly used in public radio stations? Not anymore. So yes, all PBS stations use it, but commercial radio stations also make use of music beds, okay? Sometimes it's a matter of preference for the presenter who's on the show as well. But in the sense that they're talking about the music beds here for the public radio stations, they're referring to the radio dramas, okay? I don't know if you remember, but when we spoke about ICASA and the licensing breakdown, we said that every PBS radio station needs to do 150 minutes of radio drama per week. Okay, so that's 30 minutes per day that they have to do. That's where this comes in. So this is okay, wait, I'll get to that now. So for interviews, yeah, on all radio stations, they tend to put a music bed behind an interview. So that it just sounds a little bit more lively. But again, it depends on the interview. If the interview was live, then it's great to have a music bed behind it. If an interview was, or even if it's pre-recorded, the sound will still be great. If an interview is done telephonically or via an internet link, and you still go and add music over it, it can kind of dampen the level, and you can struggle with the interview because the levels aren't so great to start with. So that would be I think that will depend on the amount of experience that you have as a producer to kind of make a call there on whether it needs a music bed or not. Okay. So everything here, nothing is set in stone. Except for the kind of music beds that you use. But when and where and how is very dependent on radio station and presenter. Okay, as long as it talks to the emotional needs of the audience. So when you're doing a drama piece, which is like your story, right? There's a rule of thumb that says something needs to happen every 45 seconds when you're editing your story. Every 45 seconds. That's where we use music. Okay. So this is apart from your hooks and your mini crumbs that you relieve throughout and your payoffs. Something else needs to happen to add to the story, to make sure that I'm still there and that it's like still bringing me back and making me listen. So every 45 seconds. So music beds will set the mood for a monologue and can cover up a pause, edit it into the speech when necessary. Because sometimes people, like me at the moment, they ramble on like one long piece. So you just want to work in pauses when you're editing it. And that's a music bed can mask that beautifully so that you can't hear that it's been cut. Yeah, just editing. Yeah, you can't hear that you edited it. So bed music can also be a presenter's signature sound. It can remind you of a certain presenter, like certain DJs, when they start playing a set, have like a specific intro. So you know if this intro plays, it's this DJ, like Khaled, like DJ Khaled. We always know, like when we hear that, okay, wherever it is, somewhere in the song, we know that that's kind of his signature. So we know he's involved in it, right? Same with some presenters. So remember that a music bed can distract the listener. Never use instrumentals or recognizable songs as a bed. Even if you have found a version of a popular song that has no lyrics in it, don't play it. Why not? Because guess where my mind's going to go? My mind is going to go to the lyrics of the song, and I'm going to start singing said song in my head instead of listening to you. Okay? So we don't use anything that's recognizable as a music bed. Listeners shouldn't be singing along with your music bed, okay? It needs to act as the background of the listening experience. So if you think about a music bed, what do you think can't be in your music bed, shouldn't be in your music bed?
Well, it shouldn't be in your music bed, as you said, lyrics.
Yeah.
And then I think like the harsh instruments like your drummies, too much bassy kind of thing. Not, I think you can have a little bit, but then not that it overpowers the speaker or overpowers
Yeah.
yeah.
Imagine in between. Doesn't work. Okay. So they are very specific kind of sounds that do work for music beds and very specific ones that don't. But guess what? It's actually quite easy to produce. Well, I can't really say it's easy, but it's easy, yeah, to produce a music bed because you tend to have an idea of the style of the radio station and of the presenter. So you just kind of make something around that. And there are millions of other instruments and sounds and things that you can use to make this music bed without utilizing drums or more specifically things like high kicks and the bass, that kind of stuff. Right. So that is a music bed. So where do we use it? It's literally the bed which the presenters speak over. Okay, so imagine you're lying on a bed. You lying on that bed is the talking. The bed itself is the music bed. Right. Then we get to jingles. So what is a jingle? I love this. A jingles are those catchy little tunes that get stuck in your head all day that you start singing for no reason whatsoever. That's a jingle, right? I think, so I'm going to play you some stuff now, but my best and worst I've ever heard was an advertisement that was done by a community radio station for a can drive, okay? A winter food can drive for homeless shelters. And they used the can song. Do you know? That song, the can song. And they literally wrote, did the copywriting on top of said song. So imagine hearing that ad. That song was stuck in my head. I could not get rid of it. But what worked was I remembered the advert because of the can drive. Like I remembered that it's a can drive. Like even now, I think it's like at least 12 years ago that I heard this thing and it's still stuck in my head. Okay. So sometimes people come up with really insane creative ways of using these or creating these jingles. What would you say is a jingle that you can recall immediately now if I ask you?
McDonald's.
Do, 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 do. I'm loving it. Why do you think that is?
I think it's because they've been so consistent and it's like they've engraved that sound in our minds.
They have over years and years and years, right? So McDonald's strategy has been quite amazing over the years. They have had ads made in so many different languages. They have used famous singers to sing their ads. They make sure they are, keyword, consistent in that thing, but also the jingle itself is catchy, right? It's something that we always remember. So every single time they do anything, they do a massive big party campaign, strategic marketing campaign, okay? Along with trying to meet the customer's needs, etc. But it's more just about that they did what we call, so they did traditional marketing, right? On TV, on radio, billboards, social media, but they also did guerrilla marketing and everything else in between. So McDonald's made sure that they were everywhere and made sure that everyone in the world knows who they are. So that's quite a big one for me. But if you were to think about it, what else do you think? What do you think is the most widely, currently, the most widely remembered radio jingle in the world? Any idea? Not? So, right. So this one's going to be quite, well, interesting. But number one is still Coca-Cola. So your textbook mentions the jingle that was most widely remembered was the Coca-Cola radio jingle, and it still is. I don't know if it's one that you would know, because I think it's kind of before your time. But what's that name of that song? Nationwide is on your side, right? That's the Coca-Cola one. And apart from that, so Coca-Cola's one is still huge. But to be quite honest, I think in South Africa today, McDonald's would be bigger, because Coca-Cola went through that dip. I think I've told you about that before, where they didn't do enough specific type of marketing. So they kind of had to start building it up again. So I think if we look at just today's stats, and we were looking at South Africa stats, I personally think McDonald's would be before that of Coca-Cola. But both really, really big. Both of those, if I just went you would know what it is, and if I just went you would know what it is, right? Because they are ingrained in our heads. Another one that's ingrained in my head from growing up specifically is Mom remembered Melrose. So those Melrose cheeses, that thing used to play a lot, over and over and over. So it's still stuck in my head today. Okay. Okay. So again, jingles are those catchy little tunes that get stuck in your head all day, that you start singing for no reason whatsoever. Very effective way to embed your brand into your listener's brain. Why? Because you're making use of music. So 89% of respondents view jingles as effective, right? So they are still effective. Something interesting that came up through this research is that slogans and jingles assist with listener recall. Okay, it helps you remember the thing that you heard. Jingles define brands and prevent confusion between brands. So I know a specific jingle is centered around that brand. Okay. It helps the listeners to remember the name of a product or a brand because it's in there. Some people even use music to study to and to help them to take in the lecture notes on music. Then women remember radio jingles that are targeted at women specifically better than men do, and the opposite is true. So if you write a jingle with certain things in mind and you want to target a woman more, these jingles have been seen to work. They're very effective at their targeting. And then, like I said, at this point, jingle that was most widely remembered was the Coca-Cola radio jingle. So do you see why a radio station's imaging packaging is so important? Because it tells me who you are. It tells me about your brand. It helps with recall. It helps me differentiate you from the other radio station out there, okay? I should be able to, if I hear a slogan or a jingle from a radio station, I should be able to tell what that radio station is immediately. Okay, jingles are really important. Sorry about that. So radio jingles, highly effective in branding a radio station and contributing to recall. When we write these radio jingles and produce them, it's really important that they need to stand out. They need to be recognizable and memorable. So we don't just get anyone to do it. Some radio stations have producers that know the sound so well that they can produce for them. Other radio stations use companies like Bainstown, okay, international companies, to produce for them. So they give you what they want. They give you the idea, the sound of the station, their different kinds of sounds. Then we would record different variations within your overall sound so that you can get an idea of what kind do you think will work best. And then obviously we need to break it down per station. So it's a lot going into it. Don't know what's happening now with my throat. So the following traits are the traits of an effective jingle. Okay. This might be important for you too, just by the way. So might be important on page 239. Brevity and simplicity. What does it mean? It means keep it short and simple. Keep it to the point. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Okay. Brevity, shortness. Short but conveying the messaging, and simple. So the purpose should be clear, not demand too much thinking. It needs to be catchy. Effective jingles get stuck in the mind of a listener, even if they are irritating. Like I said, the Can song. Strong messaging, okay? You need to communicate a brand's value proposition and then evoking pathos. So pathos refers to your emotions. It's really important that a jingle needs to connect with you via emotions, okay? Or evoke an emotional response from you because it reminds you of something specifically. So if we look at this, I just quickly want to go there. Activity 60, number 1 says, discuss the difference in terms of the level of importance between the 3 types of show promos discussed and explain why you think the one is more important than the other. So what are the 3 types of show promos that we mentioned? We mentioned a coming up or tease promotion, which is type 1. We mentioned brand building or generic, which is type 2. And we mentioned in show promos, which is type 3. So which one is the most important? Coming up or tease promotions, okay, type 1. Very important. Why? Because it is it is there for appointment listening. This is where I'm trying to get you as a listener to tune into this moment. So I'm trying to get more listeners, trying to increase my listenership, okay? That's why this one is more important than the others, because the others happen, the second one is like a movie trailer, but for your show, and the third one is just imaging. So this one is the one where I'm trying to get more people to listen to my show, most important. Okay. Right, so now moving on. But while we're doing, or before we do that, I want to play you something quickly. Might have played you this before, not 100% sure, but regardless, you can listen to it again. So this is a show intro jingle. Okay, that sums up a radio station show. And still to this day, I think this is the best one I've heard. I haven't heard another show intro jingle that has been as good as this one for me. Not because I'm biased or because I think the guy is good or anything. I just haven't heard anything else that encompasses the show's value proposition so well. Okay. If you don't hear this when I start playing it now, please tell me immediately, though, so that I can stop it and solve it.
You're waking up and the singing birds are too, but mornings are always better when someone's rogering you. It's gonna be a good Roger, good morning. It's gonna be a good Roger, good day. You can expect the unexpected. will soon be coming your way. It's gonna be a good Roger, good morning. It's gonna be a good Roger, good day. You can expect the unexpected while you shower and shave. Time to ride. Has a tiny parasite been pooping in your eyes? Wipe away the crusties and start tuning into fine. It's gonna be a good Roger, good morning. It's gonna be a good Roger, good day. You can't expect the unexpected. Will soon be coming your way. I know that you are busy and your boss is probably a jerk. So why not sit in traffic and laugh your way to work? It's gonna be a good Roger, good morning. It's gonna be a good Roger, good day. You can't expect the unexpected. Will soon be coming your way. It's gonna be a good Roger, good morning. A good Roger, good day. So open up your earphones and tune into the Roger Good Show.
So what did you think of that intro jingle?
I think it's okay for a specific target market. Let's say it could work on like 947 or something like that. I did feel like it was a bit too long.
So they made a shorter version of it that they used. So this would play at this used to play way back when. Firstly, it was made for CHR, commercial hit radio. So it was made for 5FM. He was on 5FM breakfast at the time. So they would play this at 6 o'clock on the dot. And they would only play it at 6. Every single morning at 6, they would play it. And then they had a 30-second version of it that would play throughout, like on the top of every hour.
Okay.
But it's more what I'm trying to get at, apart from the length, is the content. Did you listen to the value proposition of this show? And his voice isn't good, but yeah. So what yes, Kathleen?
I wanted to say, yes, I did hear like what he was saying, like how you're gonna laugh in traffic kind of thing. So he was like teasing kind of thing in the jingle. Yeah.
So what he did well, why I like it, is he gave us the value propositions and do you remember from your previous assignment, it was a case of what do your listeners need, what do they want to feel, value proposition, that thing. Why I like this is because it gives all of that information within this segment, or within this rather long song, I guess. So the shorter version gives some of it, doesn't give everything, but the beginning of the show tells you everything that will be coming up. So it could have done, the production could have been done differently, yes. But it's about telling my listeners what is going to happen. Okay, that's what I'm getting at here. Does that make sense? Like I said, it's made for a CHR top 40 radio station. So it's made for 16 to 24 target market. So not even 947 won't play that. Okay, so now what we're going to start looking at are other types of imaging, which is called things like donuts and liners and voices. But before we get into that, I'm actually glad that you mentioned that, because I want to show you, or play you rather. So this is Bainstown's website. I mentioned them earlier. They're also always at Radio Days Africa, where they teach a short production session over 2 days. So when Radio Days Africa comes back, I'll tell you, and yeah, because it'll be good to be there. And as a student, you can get in for free. So they create custom imaging, right? I'm going to play you a couple of examples here. So you can see they have AC, CHR, classic hits, what is this? Classic hip hop, classic rock, country, hot AC, rhythmic, and rock. Again, in South Africa, we don't have rock. We don't have classic rock. We don't have country. We don't have rhythmic. Yes. I'm going to play you the CHR, the hot AC, and then the AC, because I want to see whether you can pick up what the differences are between these three. Keeping in mind, CHR, commercial hit radio, like 5FM. Hot AC, like 947. AC, pretty much everything else. Anything that's not hot or soft will fall under AC. So older target market, where this is up until 24. Core market, this is 20 up until 30. Core target market. AC core target market is normally 35 to 45. Okay. So we're going to start with CHR.
94.
Hold on. So also, some of these might just be one. Some of these might be more than one together. So don't get confused with that. Just listen and take in the voices, the type of songs they might include, the type of sound effects, etc. that they use.
Chicago's mix. Star 104 sounds like this.
I don't wanna be somebody without your body.
This is the new one.
Only the best new music.
Like this.
It sounds good. I'm just too cute.
Freeport Poacher's #1 hit music channel.
Always fresh. Girl, get it. Get me going.
All day.
All day. All day.
The mix.
First show Saturday replay on
971 957.
Speed.
Your shot at $1,000. Happens weekdays at 8, 11, 2, and 5 with a national keyword and text to 95819.
The $1,000 payoff exclusively on today's best music, 294. On Instagram. Sounds like this.
It's 101.9. Get ready. 104.3 CYP is giving you multiple chances to win free money. Starting at 7:20 with Eric in the morning. Listen for your name.
When we hear call back in 20 minutes and tell your paycheck. Oh my God. Please. Ariana Grande. What's up? This is Pink.
24/7.
What I listen to.
This is today's best.
Non-stop. Oh my God. The most music.
Non-stop mixed music weekends.
Was that a jingle?
That was more than one jingle.
Can I hear that again?
Must I replay the whole one?
Please.
Okay, I'll replay it.
K94.5.
Take that. You 101. 101.9 the mix.
Chicago's mix. Star 104 sounds like this.
I don't wanna be somebody without your body.
This is the new one.
Only the best new music.
Like this.
It sounds good. I'm just too cute.
Freeport Poacher's #1 hit music channel.
Always fresh. Girl, get it. Get me going.
All day.
All day. All day.
The mix.
First show Saturday replay on
971 957.
Speed.
Your shot at $1,000. Happens weekdays at 8, 11, 2, and 5 with a national keyword and text to 95819.
The $1,000 payoff exclusively on today's best music, 294. On Instagram. Sounds like this.
It's 101.9. Get ready. 104.3 CYP.
Okay, I'm just going to stop it there so that I don't confuse you. All right. So what I want you to just pick up is the vibe. Okay. What is the vibe here? It's very upbeat, right?
Yes.
Like, so I think you'll understand or get the difference better when I play the others. So let me play you the hot AC one right after this, and then the AC one right after that. Okay, so I'm going to play you both now directly after each other, and then we can chat about all three. That might be easier for you.
It's 105.1.
Hi, this is Chris from the band Coldplay. Justin Timberlake here. What's up? It's Steve from Fall Out Boy. And we're super excited about our new song with Lil Peep. I've been waiting. I can't get it. 103.9.
You may be in a traffic jam, but your music isn't. You're in the middle of 11 songs in a row with Tony T on Mix 105.1.
Vegas' best variety nonstop on Star 107.9. Nonstop music.
When's the last time you heard this?
What I really want.
That sound you've been hearing is the sound of very happy people winning a lot of money.
What you do
When you win your $1,000.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You have 5 chances each weekday on Star 107.9 with a grand prize of $10,000.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Listen at 5 a.m., 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 1 p.m., and 3 p.m. for a national code word.
Hey, this is Ariana Grande.
I'm Charlie Puth.
This is Lady Gaga.
Today's best mix 105.1 welcomes the 31st annual Fiery Foods and Barbecue Show. The hottest show on earth. March 1st through the 3rd at Sandio Resort and Casino. Featuring hundreds of exhibitors and over 1,000 hot and spicy products.
So good.
Listen all this week for your chance to win your way into this taste bud exploding event.
a good variety of tunes I like. It's our job to make sure you have fun at work.
Party.
The variety you love is on 104.5 XLO.
Broadcasting from the Schmidt Dental Studios in Clarksville. WCBQ Fort Campbell. Streaming at Q108.com.
And this is 5 Seconds of Summer.
This is Ariana Grande.
This is Justin Timberlake.
Now, today's best music on Q108, a 5-star media radio station.
Okay, I'm going to play the third one now, but what I want you to just keep in mind from what you just heard was still a beat, not completely the same, okay, but still there, still playing top 40 songs, but also playing more chilled songs in between that are quite big at the time. Right, now I'm going to play you AC.
Soft Rock 94.1. Cafe 104.1.
99.9.
Today's Light FM.
More FM. With long sets of more music. More variety for a better workday. Here comes another one right now.
Songs you already know by heart. And the ones you're still trying to figure out. 8, 11, 2, and 5 does equal 4,000. 4 times today, you could win the $1,000 workday payday on today's Soft Rock.
Adding even more 80s to the Magic Mix. The awesome 80s weekend.
Surely you can't be serious.
On Magic.
That warmed you up this winter.
Because it's warm.
Warm 103.3.
Start your day with some good news. Dave and Mandy's Feel Good Moment of the Day. Weekdays at 7:15.
The new Mix 99.5 WJBR is your chance to see Justin Timberlake live in concert.
It's Justin Timberlake here.
Justin Timberlake, the Man of the Woods Tour, April 9th at the Wells Fargo Center. Stop by any participating Arby's location and register to win tickets to see Justin Timberlake live in concert. For the new Mix 99.5 WJBR. You in the seats of your favorite concerts.
Weekend variety, you've come to the right place. Thanks for listening to Warm 103.3.
Now, what are your thoughts? What about the music styles? AC, definitely older songs, not so much of a club vibe, right? At the point of when this was made, it was still topical music. It was still music that was big, but it's, yeah, the easiest would say it's not club songs. It's more chilled, more talking, but also more music versus the other two, right? Longer type of songs where the others had more sound effects to it. Also, the voices differ a little bit. Okay, the voices are a little bit older on AC versus CHR. What I'll do is in class next week, I'll get South African versions of it. Okay, so I'll get jingles, South African jingles for you, imaging, because I think that will also help you better understand the differences between them, because it's important that you can recognize what type of radio station it is, like in terms of if it's a hot AC, if it's a CHR, if it's a urban hot AC, if it's a soft AC or urban soft AC, based on the imaging that you hear, along with the music. The music will also give it away, but that's important, okay, that you can understand it. Then what we're starting with now is that donuts. Have you ever heard of a donut? Not the eating type, the musical type, imaging type. I'm going to guess that's a no. Okay, I'm going to play you one more thing. I hope that it's not problematic and that you can hear it. It's just I'm just going to play you a donut, and then I'm going to explain to you what it is. Okay, again, don't take into consideration the type of music or whatever that you're going to hear now, because I think it's exceptionally cheesy. It's just so that you can hear what it sounds like.
Got 11 brands, 40 sedans, lots of cars and trucks for under 18 grand. Save you money, treat you like a star. It's here at Ramsey Cars. See cars, see the lot. RamseyCars.com.
With over 3,900 cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs, we've got you covered. Just pick the price and payment you can afford.
See cars, see the lot. RamseyCars.com.
Okay, that was it, literally. Here's another one. And that's the last one I'm going to play you.
We invest in love and service and price it right to even buy your car. Cause we're healing now. So I try to find it easy at HealingUsed.com.
Hudson Valley used car buyers now have a whole new way to shop for their next used vehicle at HealingUsed.com. Get connected anytime on any device.
I try to find it easy at HealingUsed.com.
Nobody has more quality used and certified pre-owned cars, crossovers, SUVs, trucks, and vans. And everyone has been inspected and reconditioned. And with our market-based pricing, you never have to worry you paid too much. We'll even buy your vehicle whether you purchase from us or not. See it all now at HealingUsed.com and see how easy it is.
I try to find it easy at HealingUsed.com.
So what is it that you were supposed to be listening to there or hearing? That the beginning and the end is the same. The middle part is different, okay? The middle part here is talking. Now the sharing thing is being difficult again. Okay, so a donut. A donut is a radio production where the beginning and the end, aka the top and the tail, is in essence the same. Well, it doesn't have to be exactly the same, but those are the pre-recorded parts, okay? Where it could be singing, doesn't have to be, where the piece in the middle, the voice or the other production piece, whatever it is inserted in here, okay? This is mainly used in your recurring and daily updates promotions. When I have a promotion, it takes way too much time for me to have to reproduce this whole thing over and over. So what do? We produce a top and a tail that'll always be the same. Again, think about that. Heard this morning on the breakfast show. It'll always say that, something like that at the beginning. And it'll always say something like, join us between 6 and 9 tomorrow for another one or whatever it is, okay? These two pieces have been pre-recorded. They will always be the same, but the middle part, in the case of a radio promo, will be the best parts of that day's show, okay? We'll insert the best parts of that day's show there. Tomorrow, I can take that out, delete that middle part, and put in a new middle part for that specific day's best pieces, right? Top and tail will never change. Middle part changes. Okay, so that's a donut. The example I just played you is another example of a donut where top and tail is like singing, whatever it might be, and middle part is describing whatever the product is or something else, okay? Donuts help the sound of the station to stay fresh by only replacing the audio in the promotions or the messaging without you having to reproduce the whole thing entirely every single time. Okay? It also helps with consistency because you know when you hear this after a while that this is what it is. They're enticing as they add production imaging to something that happened live on air. Do you understand what a donut is?
Yes, ma'am.
So again, donut, top and tail in my production sequence will always be the same. I've pre-produced these no matter what. They won't change. My middle section is what changes, okay? The messaging changes. Day to day, the kind of show content will change and I will refit it to suit that specific day. Okay, that's a donut. In a nutshell, again, you understand what imaging is. Overall, you understand what those three types of promotions are. Okay, so again, coming up with tease promotions to build appointment listening, most important. Brand building, so type 2 promotion, more generic, more like a movie trailer. Third type of promotion, the in-show promotion that we use as imaging, less important in terms of promotions, but important in terms of imaging. Jingles, once again, those catchy little tunes that get stuck in your head all day, that you start singing for no reason whatsoever. Music bed, the thing that is below our voice when we are talking, can't have lyrics in it, shouldn't be well known, and shouldn't have hard elements in it also. And then a donut, which is what we looked at now, which is top and tail, like I said, pre-produced pieces, the same. Middle part is the one where the messaging can change. That's where we're going to stop for today, because I don't want to carry on without you understanding the differences between the different types of imaging on the different radio stations. So we'll do that in class in person next week, Thursday. Also, we will be running through your F3 next Thursday in class. Any questions? Then you must have a wonderful weekend and I will see you next Thursday in class. Okay, listen to radio and have a great weekend.
You too, ma'am. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.